Hello everyone, today I'd like to talk about the brand new element that will be coming with the new magical island that is coming sometime soon in the future. I have some theories around the new element, and also some of you guys have inputted some theories around what that element could be, and we're going to be going over those and everything that I think could turn out to be the element. Now, the element is something that's really hard to predict, honestly, so it may be wrong what we discuss about today. It could be something completely different. They can do whatever they want, but still, it's really cool to contemplate what exactly the element may be, and I just think it's cool to speculate about, isn't it? As with everything, we love speculating about stuff in the game, so I'm excited to do this. Currently, there are 3 magical elements at the moment, with the 4th one being revealed sometime soon in the future on the next magical island. The 3 magical elements that we have so far have been derived from specific things from the game, so therefore it would make sense for the brand new element to also take some kind of inspiration from the symbols that represent different things in the game. The psychic element can be sighted across different things such as the Wonder Mine in Dawn of Fire. We've seen it in all kinds of places, this element. It's not necessarily represented in the lore to resemble the psychic elements, but you can see that it is slightly resemblant of it, and the fact that we also have the bone element now, which also appears to be inspired by, if we look at drum rolls, drums for example, or more clearly you can see it more distinctively, this symbol on Warbox's stockpile, the decoration there. You can see it really clearly that it has some kind of bone exterior, the symbol itself, and you can see it's made up of bones, and lo and behold, the bone element represents that symbol really well. And although the fairy element doesn't actually derive from a specific symbol inside of the game, it's uncanny really that these two themselves do derive from the game itself and have been inspired by the actual symbols that we see on drum rolls, drums for example, or things like that throughout the game. So yeah, we definitely see some inspiration there. So going from this, I would say that there's actually going to be a Runic Path connection. If we look at the Runic Path symbol itself, we know that they don't take the symbol necessarily entirely. They are inspired by these sorts of things. It does appear to be some sort of hourglass to me, or something of that sort. If we read the actual description, it does give us a bit of a leeway towards what the element could actually be regarding the island, if it actually is inspired by this element and the path. It says, along with the glyphic path, which is what inspired Psychic Island potentially, this mysterious symbol is all that's left of a prehistoric monster civilization. This ties in immensely to the idea behind the Colosseum that people have been bringing up, with the new island looking resemblant to a Colosseum. And it goes on to describe, it's believed to signify the duality of ethereal monsters being able to exist in the natural universe and the ethereal plane. Interesting theory in itself, but this in the lore itself is described to be a theory. It's saying that it's believed by the monsters, so it could be to do with the element entirely. They may go off on that course, but we know from past experience they don't really resemble these symbols that they do put on decorations and things entirely. So it would make sense that this is going on about some kind of other symbol here, but they are going to base it off of this symbol. Going from that, it could be an hourglass, as I've mentioned, and it could represent this element of time, with it having prehistoric traits, this symbol, as described in the description. Literally, I'm going from the Colosseum-like structure. It's all fitting together, guys. So that could be a potential thing for what the element is, and I think it's rather likely that this may turn out to be the case, but I actually have another element that we're going to get into later that I do believe tops it all and just takes the cake and is the element I do think that we can expect the most out of everyone, even though it's hard to predict the element and it's completely up to them what they want to do. It could also represent some kind of dinosaur sand symbol. It's a very loose design, this symbol. They could turn it into a variety of things. They've not really explored dinosaurs that much inside of the game, besides Turox, of course, so it would be cool to see them actually go more in depth with the whole dinosaur idea, and for them to expand the idea to its own element, as we saw with the bone element. That would be cool if they want to go down that route, as we saw with the bone element. If they do take some kind of idea that already exists in the game, it's not bad. We had loads of bone monsters and they made the bone element and it were well cool. So they could do something here again with Turox already being a dinosaur-like monster. They could go ahead and make the dinosaur element itself. Besides the Runic Path, we actually have the island connection itself. We've discussed about this briefly with the Colosseum-like idea that everyone's putting forward at the moment. The island itself looks looks very prehistoric. We can see it on the loading screen. We can see it in the trailer. It looks like a coliseum. It has like coral floating off it. It's arisen from the ocean, so we know that it's ocean themed. It's aquatic. It's Atlantis themed, specifically with the coliseum-like thing going on. You could definitely say that it is Atlantis inspired for sure. And it's got prehistoric vibes going on, with the time element perhaps being a high candidate, as we have mentioned, for what it could exactly be. I think when thinking about the element, you definitely have to think about the elements actually involved, because we have the actual island itself, but then also we have Furcon's costume on the loading screen, and that's as far as we get, guys, in terms of hints. The rest we have to go into the backlog of the game to actually go into and look at, don't we, with the symbol and everything that we've gone into. So those really are the things that you have to look at with the new element, I would say. So in terms of Furcon here on the loading screen, we've talked about Furcon a lot on the channel, haven't we? Furcon is wearing some kind of summer get-up, aren't they? We've gone on about summer song costumes. They are by far really unlikely now, I would say, because the event is closing soon. So it wouldn't make sense for them to add them, and therefore it does mean that it's going to be a costume on the new island, I would say, for Furcon specifically. And therefore that does mean that the element will be tied to what Furcon is wearing, I would say. Seeing as though it's a summer-like get-up, you could definitely go ahead and say it could be a light element or a rainbow element. The rainbow theme would tie in rather well with Furcon's actual sandals, so it could indeed be a rainbow element. Now, we actually saw the Wickman previously, didn't we? I didn't think I'd be bringing them back up. I thought they would be represented in the trailer. I thought we'd see them, but that didn't turn out to be true. That wasn't the case at all. So that may have actually been teasing, if we look at it, a rainbow element itself, as some people did speculate in the comments on that video. I personally think that that isn't likely now. I think that was just a post to throw us off, or maybe just a post that they were just doing anyway. That wasn't actually a teaser, because they can do that. But it could be the rainbow element. That's definitely something that we can't sway away from. We should definitely consider that, I do think, and it is honestly a candidate for what the element could be. Out of every element that we have discussed so far, I do think that this element, the dragon element, is the most likely to actually come into fruition. If we look at the dragon element and the seasonals theory which I made, we speculated about all sorts of seasonal events that would be coming to the game. And mysteriously, I brought up how the leap year event, or the dragon-like event that we were on about, couldn't really exist in the game because there's no sort of island to accommodate that such event. This dragon-like element, if you look at it, has a lot of backing to it. The whole Colosseum theme of the island suits dragons really well. When you think of dragons, I definitely think of Colosseums. I feel like that's some sort of symbol that dragons have come to represent in recent times, with games having Colosseum-like battles, which you can fight with your dragons in Dragon's Age, for example, that popular mobile game, and other titles definitely go into that territory. It's definitely something that you do think about with dragons now. And there are no dragon monsters yet in the game, so it would be something that they could explore in detail, and I think this is the most likely option. If you look at the Dragon Tower decoration in-game, it says, made from old dragon parts the monsters had laying around. This tower isn't very practical, but it looks great. Now, where did these dragon parts come from? Why would they have dragon parts? They have dragon parts because there's a dragon element, perhaps. I feel like this honestly just is the one, guys. This is the one that I would put my bets on, because I think it's just the most likely going from everything that we have discussed here. And whilst it could not be true, I think that it is the most highly possible one right now. Again, the element is something really hard to predict, and there's other factors that go into the element itself. And overall, it is up to the design team what they do want to do with the actual element and the monsters and everything, as the element does determine what the island looks like and everything. But there are definitely other elements that could potentially be the element too. We have the old myths idea idea, as Atman has discussed in the comments here. Now, we actually saw Frumble in the trailer arise from the ocean, so that could be representing the Loch Ness Monster potentially, and that could be hinting towards the actual island itself. But if you think about it, we do have the mythicals already, so that does debunk that idea, doesn't it? Because I don't think they'd want to tie in an element so closely to another element. I don't think that would be a good idea necessarily, so that all the monsters are able to be as different as possible. I just think that that wouldn't really work out, but it's definitely a possibility. And we have other element candidates as well, such as a steel element, as Foullock has discussed here, or the rock element going from Pokemon. We know that they've incorporated in the game many elements from Pokemon and Pokemon types, so it would make sense for them to derive another one. Even the dragon element is present in Pokemon, so yeah, we have the fairy element in Pokemon, we have rock, or earth if you want to, as it is in My Singing Monsters, and there's lots of other different elements that are definitely connected to the Pokemon series, shall we say, because they are, and their similarities cannot go unnoticed. And guys, it could turn out to be an element that we don't have yet from the Pokemon series, though. We will have to wait on that one, though. Definitely let me know down below what you think the new element will be. Which theory do you think is the most likely that we've discussed in the video? Let me know, guys, in the comments down below, and definitely make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and to hit the subscribe button too, so you don't miss out on any other videos that I make. For now though, guys, I will see you later. Bye!